What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we get started, I gotta go ahead and say thank God for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, man, I got a build with a very interesting name that I'm gonna be bringing at y'all today. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, I'm going to be bringing y'all the build that I named the two-way post beast. Now with this build, I'm telling y'all, really going to be a monster on the inside but also on the defensive end. Now this build is actually going to come out to an inside the arc score, but as far as when it comes down to the way that I made it, you can even consider this to be a catfish. And I am really going to go ahead and say that I think everybody who likes to play Bigman is going to enjoy the way that I created and I'm bringing y'all this build. So if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and last but definitely not least, comment down TG for thank God and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to hit y'all back with a response. So let's go ahead and get started with creating this build. So the first thing that everybody needs to make sure that we start with is by putting this build under the center position. Now as far as when it comes down to the body settings, this is really optional, but how I'm going to go about it today is definitely going to be the best way that you can go about this setup. So I'm going to go with the height of 7'2". Now when it comes down to our weight, I'm going to go with 220, and then as for the wingspan, I'm going to go ahead and put this to 7'11". Now as far as when it comes down to our body shape, to take up the most space, I would recommend builds, but you can go ahead and pick however you like. Now let's get started when it comes down to the finishing. So I'm going to go ahead and put my close shot to a 90. Now as for the driving layup, go ahead and put this up to a 74. Now for our driving dunk, we're going to be able to get contact dunks, so put this to an 84. And then when it comes down to our standing dunk, go with the 90. And then as for the post control, I decided to go ahead and put this to an 87. Now if you want to change any of the heights or the settings for the body settings, you can go ahead and do so, but these numbers are subjected to change. Now I like the 27 badge count that we get out of the finishing, and a majority of these badges will be on Hall of Fame when it comes down to the post scoring end. Now I really like Fearless Finisher and Pro Touch. Now that's just gonna about wrap us up when it comes down to that end. As far as when it comes down to the shooting, I'm gonna go with the mid-range shot of an 80. Now as for the 3-point shot, go ahead and put this to a 79. And then for our free throw, I'm gonna go with the 72, and right there we get a total of 20 badges. Now I like Agent 3, Amped, Mini Magician, Space Creator, Even Volume Shooter, and then for tier 3 and tier 2, I like Green Machine. Claymore is okay, but the main badges that I'm really focused on for tier 3 and tier 2 are Green Machine and Limitless Range. Now with the 20 badge count out of the shooting, I'm pretty happy with how this build is starting out to be. Now the 27 for the finishing is really overpowered in my opinion. Now to get started with the playmaking, I'm going to go ahead and put my pass accuracy up to a 71. As for the ball handle, put this to a 40. And right there we get a total of 9 badges. Now I like Clamp Breaker, Quick First Step on Silver, also Vice Grip, and then Bailout. And if you want to add extra badges towards this build, you can definitely do so to unlock some of the tier 3 badges. Now when it comes down to the defensive end, to see where this build gets the true two-way name from, go with an interior defense of an 80. Now when it comes down to the block, I'm going to go ahead and put this to an 87, and then when it comes down to our defensive rebound, this is going to get brought up to a 94, and then for badge purposes, go with an offensive rebound of a 62, and we get 21. Now for tier 1, I like Glove and Interceptor with Challenger and Workhorse on gold. For tier 2, I like Box Out Beast on Hall of Fame, but I think a majority of the defensive end is really, in my opinion, the main key about this build. Now we also get Rebound Chaser with Anchor, and that just about wraps up this build. Now when it comes down to the physicals, I'm going to put my speed to a 60. Now for the acceleration, you can max it out, but I'm going to go with the 51, 55 strength, and then for the vertical, I'm going to go with the 75 and then put the rest of our attributes into our stamina, and it should get right up to a 90, and this is what the build is going to be looking like. Now there's a few different things that everybody should take into consideration with this build. The +5 from buying your own boost, also another +4 from running with teammates that have on Hall of Fame floor general. Now the better we play, our stats also gradually will raise, and then from these takeovers, if you pick 2 separate ones, that's a +10 when each one is activated. So we get the sharpshooting, rim protecting, glass cleaning, and the post scoring. So go about your own preference and playstyle when it comes down to this area. For the primary takeover, I'm going to go with Limitless Range, and then for the second one, I would pick from Paint Intimidation or See the Future Takeover. But to be just an overpowered offensive build, I would go with Power Backdowns, and that's really going to make up for the strength. Now if you want to go with double defensive takeovers, I'm going to move forward with this build. So let's go ahead and check out the name to make sure we made it correctly. Now we should be getting these 3 comparisons, but like I said earlier, we have created the 2-way post beast. Now with this build, I'm telling y'all, I think it's really a mix of a 2-way build, but also a post scorer with a little bit of paint beast. Now there's a lot of potential, especially with this build in the right hands. Now again, I would appreciate it if y'all went ahead and let me know what y'all thought about this build today. But as you can see, whichever takeovers you decided to run with, make sure you add on the boost. And I'm telling y'all, this is one of the best builds that you can possibly make, especially if you're looking for an anchor of your team. Now from the defensive end, I think we're still going to be able to guard all 4 levels. And then when it comes down to the offensive end, this makes up for the perfect 1v1 court build. Now if you want to, you can definitely make your own adjustments to get something out of the playmaking. But I think when it comes down to the badges that we're able to pick from, definitely one of the best layouts that you're going to be able to start with. So let's go ahead and get started with the finishing. I'm going to go with Posterizer as well as Slithery. Then from there, I like Pro Touch with Fearless Finisher, Limitless Takeoff. Now from there, I'm going to go with Rise Up, and you can even throw on Fast Twitch with Masher. Now if you want to take off either of these 3 badges, you can do so that way you're able to put on Backdown Punisher and Hall of Fame. I would go with Post Spin Technician, make a minor adjustment to also add on Dream Shake, and you could even equip 2 to 3 Hall of Fame badges when it comes down to the post scoring. Now if you want to, go ahead and run with the 2 or to the 3 tier 3 badges for the finishing. But when it comes down to the shooting, I'm going to go with Agent 3, also Gold Amped, and then when it comes down to Space Crater, I'm going to put this on the Hall of Fame tier. Now also, I like Midi Magician, Green Machine, and then for tier 3, I'm going to go with Core Limitless Range. Now for Volume Shooter, I think this is going to be essential, so I'm going to put it on Hall of Fame. Now here's going to be a few different jump shots that we can pick and recreate from, just to give y'all an idea of what this build is going to be able to do from the shooting end. Now when it comes down to the playmaking, I'm going to go with Clamp Breaker on Bronze. Now from here, Quick First Step on Silver, as well as Gold Vice Grip as the core badge. Now with the remaining 4, you can throw this into any area off of your own preference. For my own liking, I think Bailout is going to be one of the most solid badges, but if you wanted to, you can change any of the badges to your own playstyle. Now I'm just giving y'all an idea of what I think is going to be best for this build, but when it comes down to tier 2, I'm going to go with Hall of Fame Box Out Beast, Gold Chase Down Artist with the Rebound Chaser, Silver Anchor, and then for tier 1, I'm going to go with Glove, Interceptor, Challenger, and you can even go ahead and put on Workhorse on Silver to Gold. Now this is what the build is going to be looking like. Now I really appreciate y'all, and if you are still watching, really comment down TG for Thank God and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to hit y'all back with a response. I hope y'all enjoyed today's video, but with all that being said, man, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family. Thank God for another day and another opportunity. And with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.